This is so disheartening. It says massive layoffs are coming in 2024. But there's a ad on Newsweek.
So I remember when I first started maintenance, I was wondering, I did an apprenticeship program, and all these guys had a two or three resumes on file ready to go. I was, why are y'all doing that? Well, you never know when you're going to get laid off. They were, the company I went to the apprenticeship program, they were contract maintenance. So they would come in there and replace the maintenance that worked there, make it like $28, $30 an hour or more, and bring in people $16, $22 an hour and save a lot of money. And so they were doing PMs and all this cost analysis and all that. And they pretty much like a temp service, but for maintenance. Everybody's trying to always save money. But some of these jobs I was reading, I don't know if it's election year, businesses trying to put pressure on everything, what's going on. But my opinion, I was reading some of the article, and they're talking about they were thinking a recession's coming. Everybody's always saying a recession's coming. Well, I can see that when people can't afford to buy anything, and we're a consumer-driven economy. So if people ain't buying things, then it lowers the economy because we buy so much. So once people quit buying all this stuff that's not made in the country, then it's going to affect the whole world at whatever percentage that we affect, who knows. Then all these companies that probably American owned that are over in other countries are going to affect them because now we can't afford to buy it because it might cost too much. It's not worth it. What's the point of beating yourself in the head? And it's all about money. So I was looking at another article, and it's talking about these Toyotas. They might not be safe, but they might for 10 grand. A Toyota, man, Toyota truck. And I don't know how good it is, but, they were talking, well, they won't let that one come in the country. They'd rather you buy a $70,000 truck. Everybody love to have a $10,000 truck instead of a $70,000, or at least even, we like accessorizing. We'd probably be willing to pay $30,000 for it, or $20,000. But man, 70 grand for a truck is ridiculous. We need something to get us back and forth to work. We don't need a house on wheels that if you wreck, it's going to be gone. And another thing, which is crazy, AI. A lot of these companies are going to replace employees with AI technology, stuff you can do online, or, marketing or creating ads. So it's coming. And what do? And here I am. I hadn't really been looking hard, but I have put in, since I got laid off in November 2022, I put in for a bunch of jobs. And I just put in for 4 this week, even though I'm going through truck driving training. But now, what I do, and it's crazy, man. You want to go to work, and then all these jobs, they won't hire you, you get older, and then you're thinking, oh man, I'm running towards Social Security, and then they're talking about cutting it out. What are you supposed to do? And then, I went to college, and now a lot of college degrees aren't any good. And I thought about going into accounting. And when I first graduated, like 2018, it still looked hopeful. But then they would give me like jobs to get experience. But then eventually they want you to take that license and get certified. And I notice now a lot of people don't want to go in accounting. They wouldn't even hire me. But I didn't have my CPA or anything, and I think I needed a couple more classes on top of my degree. But man, so I tried to get in business, and all these jobs wanted. I said, what do I apply for? Business administrative or managers, and nobody hired me. So I put in for today. I put in for like a pest technician, but I don't know if I can get under the house. But I'm going to try. I don't know if I'll be able to crawl under a house, but oh well. But that's why you got to work. You got to work 2 or 3 jobs now, just to You got to have one job where you can barely make it, and another job you got to have if you want to make it. Putting in your 401k and IRA, and this brings up another point that made me think. Now I don't know for sure. I'm not a finance guru. Just what I've seen watching all these finances, and then in the pandemic, and they were really out there, and now a lot of them disappeared because what they said worked when the stocks were up, but when the stocks crashed, a lot of what they said didn't make any sense anymore, and a lot of people seen through a lot of this stuff, or they would only just give you a little bit, and they wanted to sell you a book, the money-making schemes and all that. But in my opinion, they're talking about the U.S. dollar and going down, and the U.S. dollar used to be dominant, but everybody gets mad when the U.S. government prints all this money, and it's going somewhere, They print all this money, but it affects the whole world's economy that's kind of using the U.S. dollar, because the U.S. dollar had dominance. So it makes everybody mad because they're not doing anything wrong, but we start printing money, and then their money goes down, and it's not worth anything. And they're like, what? So we're affecting the whole world. So now they're trying to come up with this brink system, and I think Russia, China, and I've seen something about 30 countries are wanting to go into this thing. So, the end of times and all that stuff coming on. But, you look at, I don't know if it's Wolf of Wall Street or one show I watched. It might have been, I don't remember what it was, but it had a lot of guys. They were on like a Wall Street thing, but I don't remember what the TV show was. But, the guys looked pretty professional, and it would show past and present. And these guys, like Greece, the whole economy, I don't know if it was real, but on a TV show, they just went over there and did something and bankrupt the whole country. The whole country, just to make some stock options. And, with artificial intelligence, and it's all going to come down to whoever has the best AI. Whoever has the best artificial intelligence, that before it becomes, before it comes alive or self-thinking, so it probably won't last long. But whoever has the best artificial intelligence gets in there that click. Because, if they start this other currency, and then, of course, Wall Street's going to be in there doing it, just like China is in our stock, and they're not really stopping them from being in stock. Like some states that said they can't have any Chinese owned land, but it was state owned. But we're trading. It's kind of like, it don't make any sense. If everything's going like Cold War, like Russia and America is one thing, but then China and America is totally different, because we're buying so much stuff. It's like on the surface they're saying one thing, behind the door they're saying one thing, and it's all a ruse, But I think, even though that one guy that did the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, I might be wrong on that, but he talked about he didn't want to invest in anything except real estate, and then he borrowed from real estate and borrowed more money to make more money, which is smart. And he didn't like the stocks because it's all manipulated, So he might know something, but you'll make a little bit of money on stock, but working for other people, you're never going to be rich anyway. So I don't know what to do. We're all like, just struggling along. No matter if you make 10,000 or 20,000 or 400,000, you probably buy a little bit better. But we're all kind of just steady along. If you was making millions and millions, I guess you're out of it. But everybody's affected because we're on this one little planet. So we're all affected, and things can change in a generation or overnight. And they make new tax laws and, everything. But don't worry about a layoff. I guess, you can, but, America was founded, I think, Georgia. No offense to Georgia. I live right beside them. But a lot of people that had debt, they were put in debt or prison in England, and they let them come over here in the United States to start over. There's nowhere to really go now except the Simpsons were talking about Marge and I think Lisa. They were old. They were in Mars. So, if you get a whole bunch of debt, you'll probably be able to just go live on Mars and start over. Who knows? That's probably where it's coming. But yeah, man, no matter what it is, the money's there. Just try your best. Try not to spend more than you can. Invest what you can. Don't get worried. Try to take care of yourselves. Spend time with who's important. Because even though there's easy money to be made, if it comes quick, it'll go away quick. Like a little flower. It might seem pretty, like a little flower that pops up. It's a weed, but it's a pretty weed. And it's only here for a certain time. But it goes away quick. So you might make a lot of money. Like some of these people. I heard a car dealer and the ladies were doing adult entertaining and they needed money. They have like $50 to sign up for a car payment. But they said, well, you got to have at least $4,000. So 3 days later, come back and have $4,000. But then they don't have any money. So, it's like that. Easy money goes really easy. So don't worry about a layoff. Just kind of prepare, learn all the skills, because eventually things that go away, used to, people had to have a farm and they had to supply the farm and they got free land if they went and did it, but they still had to learn. And only like 200 years ago, maybe less, and people had to live a whole lot different way. And the Amish live a certain way. They had to negotiate with the modern way. But just remember, have don't get stressed out, but try everything. I know it's hard. Several parts of the country, the rent's outrageous, and a lot of people own a lot of debt. They're probably just going to let it go. I don't see any other way they're going to be able to make it. And some people just give it up. But if you had the means to kind of survive, try. And no matter what happens. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm being encouraged or not. But just don't give up. I know it's tough. And it happens in cycles too. And you never know. If you make the bad decisions, every so often it's going to come back around. If you're healthy and got a job, try to save, because you never know how long that job's going to last. Used to, when I was in third grade, I remember the teacher saying of the average longevity of a person being employed one company would be maybe 5 years. So think about that. You employed 5 years and you're hireable at a certain age. Well, 5 years, now when you got hired, you have all these other people that can get hired at that age now. So now you're competing with that age group. And, the older you get, it's all about insurance. Insurance, like the number one producer of money. And the older you get, and then the companies don't want to pay. Well, what happens if this person has all these medical bills? It's going to cost a lot for our bottom line. So they don't want to hire you because you got health benefits, or you might not want to take no BS anymore. And telling the guy, hey, that don't make any sense. And they don't want to hear that. So they don't want any trouble arguing with, older employees or somebody's got experience. They like people that don't know what they're doing half the time, so they can just treat them any old way. So, layoffs are always going to be coming, but there'll be new jobs. As long as they got people with money, there'll be jobs, because the people with money don't want to work. They'd rather have their money work for them. So hopefully they'll keep taking these loans. And I was talking to my mom, and, you talk about Elon Musk and all these people got these $1 million homes and they borrowed money for it. But it's kind of cool. You could take, if the bank gave it to you, and if you're rich, you can have a lot of money, and then you get the low interest rates, and you borrow from your money, and then you make money on that money that you borrowed that will pay your payments, plus you can live off of it. So you're creating assets from leverage and debt. But you can't really do that unless you have a lot of money to do it. And then it's astronomical what you can do, because those rules, they're not tapped because it's so much money. It's we'll let you do it because it's that worth. But when you got a little debt, they're going to tax the fire out of you, or interest rates will be so high, it's not worth doing it. You're going to pay like 2.5 or 3 times what you borrowed. So yeah, you got to think about it, get educated, learn all you can. They say, you just got to keep struggling and learning, and stuff you're going to learn, you're going to forget. And, don't worry about layoff. You just got to keep your skills, keep focused. Don't get suckered into, and over here, everybody wants to buy anything. And then I look at YouTube a lot. I got a lot of free time. And you look at all these other countries, some people don't have nothing and they're happy. Or they got a lot, but everything's cool. And, but the economy is going to be the same way everything. So started out a long time ago, people trading, and, people have more worth for what something is and everything all over the world. Different currency, different rules, customs, what you value, how you think people look at you, what you value, whether you don't care about it, all the other stuff. But I just wanted to share that when I seen the layoffs, because, I'd be trying to figure out what to do, or watch TV, or I'll just see an ad pop up, or check an email, or applying for a job, and I just had to share that. Don't get worried about layoff, because, there's always going to be new jobs. And eventually, I think Elon Musk might have said this, and some other people, if they lay us all off and they replace us all, they're going to have to come up with some kind of like government welfare to have us all on a food. And, they'll probably be giving us jobs or something to stay busy, just keep us out of trouble. And we'll have to go to like a collection center to collect it. But then if you don't do right, or they'll be totally controlled. So hopefully that won't happen. Hopefully we'll stay in a, I don't know, job producing economy. But all these businesses start and they fail. So, what do you do? What do you do? You just, put your faith somewhere and don't give up. Don't worry about layoff. I've been laid off a lot. And it happens, So hopefully Social Security will be around 15 more years from now, but probably not. So can't worry about it. Just try to do the right thing, take care of yourself, enjoy life, enjoy your grandbabies, or just not worry about getting all this, keeping up with the Joneses, or buying this or buying that, because it's just to keep you in the wheel. I went for conductor trainee training, and when we was going through the training before we went out there, and I fell off the train, and they let me go because I was a safety risk. And they said, if you fell off a 100-foot ravine, we probably wouldn't be able to get you. We wouldn't find your body till it's too late. So they said they were doing me a favor. But they told a young guy that was there, and he said, oh, yeah, man. Yeah, you come in here, because a lot of our retirement's based on new employees, with the benefits. I didn't learn how it all worked. But he said, yeah, go ahead and get your house, 2 or 3 cars, and get all that debt, because, you'll be working a long time supporting me. That's what the instructor said. So they already know the game. Somebody's got to pay for the next guy, or pay the above guy, and you just got to find out what you want to do. What's more important, living the dream, or what you want to do? You live without it, be a minimalist, live in a van. You never know. You just got to keep moving no matter what. And, I was drinking my coffee. That's like a daily indulgence, I guess, or something I enjoy. And it has antioxidants in it. Probably a little bit too much sugar in it, but I enjoy it. It's good. It's better than drinking a bunch of sodas. And so far, I know it's good for you. And it does help me. You get old, you start having like aching issues, and it helps a little bit, I think, with arthritis. Not medical advice, but I like the taste as long as it's not too bitter. And don't worry about a layoff. There's always jobs. You might not want to do the job. That's the hard part. So, man, I don't want to do that. But, sometimes you have to work two jobs. So if you got a job that works during the week, you got one that works weekend. So, if you have to, like I got a weekend job, so I can look for a job during the week. And if it don't work out, or if I can't do it, then I still got the weekend job. But if I work a job that requires all my time, like one job, it's like putting all your oars, or they used to have fire irons or stuff that people used to have fireplaces. Some people still do. But it's like putting all your irons in the fire in one spot. So if something happens, it'll fall apart. So you don't want to have, and some of the old sayings, you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. Somebody steps on it, you lose all your eggs. Just like stocks, you don't want to invest all in one stock or one type of house, because nothing's guaranteed. So you want to diversify yourself. Yeah, even if you save money, if you got a credit card and you're responsible using it, but be careful. But whatever you do, you can go to a certain grocery store and it's cheaper than another store, or you're able to cook at home, and anything you can do, to do things. But if you spend all the money on stuff that's not worth anything, like if you like nice stuff and you buy all these nice clothes, you go to the Goodwill or Salvation Army and buy the same clothes for a fraction of the price, or clearance deals and all that stuff, or you can work somewhere where you get like free clothes, or benefit somewhere working. You never know. But that just got me in there when they was talking about layoffs. They're always saying layoffs, a recession's coming, and nobody wants to hire, and how employers are ghosting people, and employees or future employees are ghosting people, and nobody wants to work, and nobody wants to pay a wage. And, it's just, you got to read through all the BS. Because it's just somebody trying to put their opinion, get their thoughts out there, or either they're trying to sway the people to believe a certain way. So you got to really, you think, what are they trying to say? Or, what's coming, is it about the control? But you can't control all these people. Not yet. There's too many folks on here, 8 billion people. And, you got all this stuff now going on. People coming in the country, and, it's all over the world. It's happening all over the places. Like the pandemic, prices and everything it affected, everything's doubled a lot of places in the world. If you watch, according to YouTube, and it's not happening just here. So that tells you that things are changing, even though we're in different countries. It's still the same. You still got the same thing happening. Everybody has to eat. Everybody has to sleep, Everybody has to have shelter, clothing. Everybody has needs, the basic needs, and then you have desires and the wants. And it's the same all over the world, even though it's different cultures, different way of doing business, but it's still pretty much the same, even though, like somebody was talking about Japan, how I think they bowed certain times, they show respect, and they were talking about chopsticks, but learning that stuff's kind of difficult because you're not used to it. So you have to kind of pay attention to what's going on. You don't want to point your chopsticks at people, and different cultures have a certain thing. Like we used to give like a thumbs up, and they were talking about, I think in Romeo and Juliet, if you bit your thumb as an insult. So, that's the thing that's kind of different, is all the little different idiosyncrasies of the world. But basically, even that guy that bites his thumb and the other guy that holds his thumb, they still got to eat. They still got to, make money. And you got to, if you raise a family, if you're single, and everybody's still thinking the same thing. Like people in America kind of getting away from having kids and it's getting too expensive. And then even China, they had like a whole bunch of couples that were affected from their policies, the one child policy. And so they got together, but they didn't want kids. They wanted to enjoy life. They want to enjoy the being able to do stuff with their money and have a life instead of being so constrained. And somebody's struggle. A lot of people look at it. I don't want to do that, And some people just struggle and got stressed out. They just handle it. They're just in it. And other people are like, nah. So that affects things too. Then you got a guy that is in business and he gets a benefit and it jumps up. So as long as there's people with money, there'll be jobs. You see them all the time build these jobs, like new gas station popping out and all these $1 million businesses just popping up everywhere. So I think, buying stocks, if you like your 401k and they give you a match, you ought to at least do the 100% match. Or, the match to get the most benefit. Say if they pay 4%, you ought to at least put 4% in there if you can. And then I think whatever it is, look all this stuff up. But, you have IRA and depending on income. So there's a lot of research you got to do. There's a lot of people out there that tell you all this stuff. But if you have a Roth account, IRA, they can't touch it without a big penalty until you get older. And there's other things you can do. I wouldn't trust no offense, the index fund unless you know what you're doing. I heard about that. These people want you to buy insurance and borrow from it, but they say it's got to be wrote a certain way or it's more money supported instead of death benefit funded. It has to have less death benefit in order for it to earn the interest. But you got to watch all that stuff. People tell you things and it's not true. I bought a timeshare. They told me I could do this and that and just sold it, talked all this stuff, and I only got it. I bought a timeshare for like $3,900. It was every 2 years, like the second week of January, but you're supposed to be able to use it anytime as long as you told them far in advance. And maintenance fees were only $200 something every 2 years. Well, it went up to almost $900 every 2 years. And then you had all these with the internet. I bought it back in, probably 1998. And I had it like maybe 20 years. And then it wasn't worth anything. I couldn't sell it. It was a blue week in RCI. But just, you look at a video I had, like February or March, a while back, went to the Great Smoky Mountains, up in Gatlinburg, and they wanted like $125,000, and it was a different company. It wasn't, RCI. I think it might have been II, I think, but it's in the video. But the first thing they start out, you get a cabin for like $125,000. Then you still got to pay over $1,000 a year to use the thing, and it's real confusing. So it's not worth buying a house to go on vacation for somewhere you don't own it. Timeshares are not worth it. So it's crazy. But my little timeshare got to where, RCI was supposed to be the cream of the crop. Then you got like all these travel apps, and now you got, Airbnb and Vacation Rental by Owner, and you got all these Travel Velocity and Hotel.com, and you got all these apps, and a lot of them are going in there buying the inventory for these hotels. So in these timeshares, and then when you'd go to trade in, you couldn't because all the inventory was gone. And the people that bought all the timeshares couldn't even use it because these travel companies had all this money and bought it all up. They bought so much, got it bulk discount, and then they sell it. So it'd be cheaper to go through them than it was to use your own timeshare, almost. It's crazy. But yeah, I just got on a rant about the job layoffs, and I know I went on and on and on, but don't worry about job layoffs. There'll always be a job, but prepare if you can, or, we'll just fly by the seat of our pants. Who knows? They talk about trucker shortage and need all these truckers, and then, a lot of it, they want to hire new people at less pay, and it's just a big thing. If they can get away with people working at a certain pay, they'll pay it. And then nobody wants to work. They raise the wages a little bit just to tease you a little bit. Say, okay, we'll give you a little bit more. And then it's kind of like takes all your freedom, personal rights. And they say you give up your dreams, that. I don't know. But depends on how good your dreams are. If your dreams ain't too good, you gotta do something to make money. But I just thought I'd share that. Hope all y'all are doing good and your dreams are good and y'all are been able to have a good time and survive through all this. It's just crazy the things you got to deal with, and just dealing with certain people. You get around them, try to work with them, and how their opinions and the way they see things is so different. And that's just the people So you imagine how it is all over the world. Everybody's so different and has such different opinions, and they think what they're seeing or how they are and their experiences, and all this new craziness about, marriage and, how nobody wants to stay married anymore. And a lot of this new stuff they're talking about just doesn't make any sense to me, and TV don't even show a lot of this. It's more like a story and entertainment. But who knows? It's crazy. But you only do so much. You only got so much time. And the older you get, you want less aggravation. You want more peace. And you just want to get by. Get through another day and be able to walk and get out of bed. You don't want all the hustle and bustle or he said, she said, and, all that mess. But anyway, don't worry about layoff. But, just try to do what you can. And if you get your hand on a golden ticket or something that you don't normally have or take you a year to make, put it up so you can have it for a rainy day. And hope y'all doing okay. And we'll talk to y'all later. Thank you so much for listening.